The beginning after the end sold us a lie. What looks like a standard power fantasy is actually a brutal, censored nightmare. And today, we're exposing it all, from cut manga scenes, straight down to the absolute abyss. Level 1, the surface. The cracks are already showing. Let's enter the core and reveal what they hid from you. Let's start with the absolute foundation. King Grey. The strongest ruler in a tech-driven dystopia dies and wakes up as an infant in a world of swords and sorcery. It sounds like your standard overpowered chosen one isekai. But do not get comfortable. Grey didn't just bring his combat experience with him, he brought a massive amount of past life trauma and severe PTSD. That psychological baggage is a ticking time bomb, and it is going to bite him hard. Before we start breaking the rules of this universe, you need to understand them. Dickathan's magic system is strictly divided into two paths: augmenters who buff their bodies, and conjurers who cast from a distance. Most mages are restricted to just one of the four basic elements, slowly purifying their mana core from the absolute lowest black stage up to the legendary white. But the real game changers are the Deviants. We are talking mutated elements like lightning and gravity, or ultra-rare specs like emitters. Being a Deviant isn't just a flex, it is a genetic jackpot that ruling powers will do anything to control. This is exactly where the cracks start showing. If you only watched the anime, you are being fed a heavily sanitized illusion. The studio actively nerfed the tone to make it feel more kid-friendly. Take the dire wolves encounter. Arthur just finished slaughtering a group of human traffickers, but suddenly he is worried these tied-up beasts might attack them. It makes zero sense. In the anime, Tessia steps in to convince him. She gives this generic speech about how elves value forest life and stands there proudly with her hands on her hips like a standard cliché anime heroine. In the original comic, none of this padding exists. Arthur spares them coldly on his own accord, but the absolute worst change happens when they reach the Elven Kingdom. The studio fabricates this cheap, hostile drama out of nowhere. The elves surround Arthur, threatening to execute a human child. And Tessia, she just stands there, frozen, in a dumb stupor. In the source material, the elves didn't want to kill him. They were immediately grateful he saved their princess. They are pulling the wool over your eyes to keep it looking like a standard anime. Level 1 finishes where the anime absolutely refused to go. Total, unfiltered ruthlessness. The studio fabricates a safe, generic prodigy, but the sources reveal a terrifying, tactical, cold-blooded killer. Most adults sense something is wrong when they spar. His father feels a cold, calculated confidence that can only be built over decades of war. Even his mentor, Jasmine, feels the unnatural disconnect. He moves like a master, trapped in a body that won't obey. But the studio's absolute biggest cover-up? The bar scene. A B-rank veteran swordsman gets his pride shattered by a rookie's legendary fame. He publicly mocks Arthur's masked persona, claiming the rumors are fake, and that Jasmine carried him to A rank. He boasts he can break the kid any time. But when Arthur actually walks into the tavern, the veteran loses his mind, harassing and attacking him. In the original comic, Arthur doesn't just defend or talk back. He coldly and brutally chops 4 fingers off the veteran's hand right in front of a horrified crowd. The anime completely erased this entire incident. They desperately need you to forget that he is a tactical, cold-blooded executioner. Welcome to Level 2, The Shallows. We've left the safe waters of the anime behind. Down here, we uncover censored deals, hidden magic mechanics, and a Season 2 finale that completely shattered the canon. The mana is getting heavier. Let's dive. Quick pause. Enjoying the deep dive? Drop a like and subscribe to support the channel. Okay, back to the video. In the anime, Arthur helping Lilia awaken her mana core is framed as a classic feel-good favor, just a wholesome kid doing a good deed. But the webcomic paints a much more unsettling picture. Let's look at Vincent Helstea's internal monologue. When Arthur sits down to negotiate, Vincent is absolutely terrified. He realizes this 8-year-old is radiating a heavier, darker aura than the king of Sapa himself. Arthur wanted highly specific gear, a cloak, a sword, and a rare, voice-altering mask that required a deviant sound artisan to create. Vincent was actually prepared to give it all to him for free, but Arthur still has the mind of a ruler. He hates owing unearned favors. He drops the innocent child act and coldly insists on a calculated trade. He offers to forcefully awaken Lilia's core as strict compensation. Vincent realizes right then that Arthur's innocent family boy persona is just a well-crafted facade. The anime erased this entire psychological layer. They hid the fact that underneath the smile, King Grey is always playing a completely different game. Next up, Dickathon's most broken mechanic, the Beast Will. Normal mages grind their own cores for decades just to stay relevant. But a Beast Will? It lets you completely hijack the raw abilities of an apex predator. You can't just farm monsters to get one. The beast has to willingly surrender its soul to you. Or you need a lottery-level drop from an S-class nightmare. And if you actually manage to bond with one, your biology forcefully mutates. Through the acquire and integrate phases, you slowly stop being entirely human. And then there is Arthur. He didn't just get a standard beast will, he absorbed Sylvia's literal dragon core. It is the ultimate cheat code, a power so heavy it completely shatters the boundaries of reality for every other mage on the continent. If you just finished the anime finale, you probably think the S-class dungeon arc ends with a massive kaiju battle in Xyrus City. But that mutated monster rampaging through the streets, it is 100% fake. The studio completely hijacked the timeline just to force a flashy season finale. In the original webcomic, there was no mutating employer. The true aftermath was much quieter, but far more important. Arthur is supposed to meet the inventor Gideon and receive a crucial artifact, a specialized bracelet designed to suppress his elements, allowing him to completely hide his monstrous power at the Academy. But by injecting that giant monster fight, the anime committed a massive crime. They completely ruined a terrifying future plot point. In the true canon, Arthur first encounters those sinister power-boosting runes much later, and it isn't a generic boss fight. It is a horrific tragedy. A student at the Academy suddenly mutates and attacks Arthur. He doesn't just die in battle. He is rushed to the healers, only to suffer an agonizing death as his own mana core and body completely shatter under the unnatural power overload. The studio traded dark, psychological world building for a cheap, rushed spectacle. Welcome to Level 3, The Depths. The heroic fantasy we started with is officially dead. Down here, the pressure is crushing. We uncover past life trauma, the brutal realities of war, and a devastating confession that permanently shatters the Leywin family. The weight of the crown is pulling us under. Take a deep breath. Let's look at the miraculous mana-enhancing serum circulating through Xyrus Academy. In any standard anime, this is your typical, convenient power-up. Just a quick buff to help the students. But this elixir is a horrific Trojan horse. This wasn't some holy water, and it wasn't just alchemy. It was an engineered biological weapon. The true origin of this liquid traces back to experiments conducted by Agrona, the dark ruler of the Alacrian continent, on a parasitic entity known as the Demonic Leech. These are highly intelligent, revolting creatures capable of hijacking a host's body while forcing their mana core into a deadly overdrive. Agrona weaponized this exact biological process into a drinkable serum and slipped it to the Dicathians. The moment those students drank it, they thought they were getting a free stat boost. In reality, they were willingly ingesting a parasite that would eventually bind them to the enemy's will. Agrona wasn't just planning a military invasion, he was quietly hijacking the continent's next generation of mages right from the inside out. We already talked about Deviants, the genetic lottery winners of the magic system, but there is one subclass cursed by their own existence, the Diviners. Elder Rhynia possesses this exact power, but the comic reveals the terrifying biological cost behind it. While random, fleeting glimpses of the future are harmless, true divination, actively reading and searching the timeline, completely bypasses a mage's mana core. Instead, it runs directly on their life force. Every time a diviner peers into the timeline, their own hourglass drains. It is a magic system paid for with a slow suicide. We learn the horrific extent of this through Lanaya, Virian's late wife. She was plagued by daily visions of Virian's assassination. To save the man she loved, she actively read the future almost every single day, constantly trying to alter his fate. She didn't just spend her mana to keep him alive, she spent her literal existence. And Rhynia? She felt months of her own lifespan drain away from looking into Arthur's future just once. And what she saw wasn't a glorious hero's journey. She saw a boy standing at the epicenter of devastating change. The vision was so heavy that she left Arthur with a chilling warning. The most dangerous enemy isn't the king sitting on a throne. It's the abandoned soldier who has nothing left to lose. If you think the anime is dark, you are not ready for the Xyrus Academy massacre. The illusion of a safe, magical school is instantly shattered. The enemy arrives by literally tossing a student's severed head into the crowd. Lucas Wykes, juiced up on that exact demonic elixir we just talked about, feels invincible, treating the elite students like mere insects. And then Arthur Leywin drops from the sky, but Arthur doesn't arrive like a traditional shonen hero. He radiates the suffocating, traumatic bloodlust of a dictator, a man who has slaughtered thousands. Even with a godlike power boost, Lucas is instantly paralyzed by primal fear. What follows isn't a duel, it is a slow, methodical execution. Arthur systematically dismantles him. Lightning severs one arm and freezing magic completely shatters the other. In a final, cold-blooded act of vengeance, Arthur brutally crushes his lower half. He ensures Lucas's bloodline will never continue. But the true horror starts right after. Completely exhausted, Arthur is ambushed by Lucas's older brother, the Lance Baron. Saved only by the intervention of the other lances, Arthur's mana core is forcefully restricted, and he is dragged away in chains. Locked in a pitch-black, subterranean dungeon, the psychological weight of the massacre briefly catches up to him. He suffers a horrific nightmare, walking through a bloody wasteland only to find the severed heads of his mother, father, and little sister mounted on spikes. But unlike a normal child, King Grey does not break. Shortly after waking up, an elven lance secretly slips him a message. Tessia's father has already smuggled Arthur's family into hiding, protecting them from the council's betrayal. Arthur isn't sitting in that cell panicking. He is sitting in the dark, calmly waiting for a literal deity to walk through the door. Winsome steps into the cell. As an Asura, a member of a godlike race, he is here to deliver the ultimate reality check, completely shattering the scale of the story. The conflict has escalated beyond human control. The Dwarven king and queen executed for treason, Arthur's best friend Elijah kidnapped to the enemy continent, and the rogue gods ruling that continent. They now have a terrifying obsession with capturing Arthur alive. Because of this, he is drafted into a divine war and taken to the Azuran homeland. Arthur decides he can no longer protect his family with lies. Right before his departure, he sits his loving parents down and drops the most devastating truth bomb in the entire series. He confesses that he is King Grey, a traumatized, middle-aged ruler who inexplicably reincarnated into their baby's body. The psychological horror of this scene is agonizing. His mother spirals into hysterical denial. Her brain literally cannot process the existential dread that she has been nursing and coddling a grown man, constantly begging to know if he hijacked or killed her real baby. His father, Reynolds, is completely broken. The fierce pride he held for his prodigy son is crushed, replaced by a sickening question: was our entire family life just an act? Arthur has no perfect answers. He simply thanks them for teaching him how to love, and he walks away. Eldarinia later reveals the true tragedy of his confession. Arthur didn't tell them because it was a logical, tactical move. He told them because his human heart couldn't bear to lie to them anymore. As Arthur teleports away to the realm of gods, his family is left in emotional ruins. The childhood era of this story is officially dead. Welcome to Level 4, the Trench. At this depth, the light is gone. His family is broken, leaving Arthur as a mere pawn for ruthless gods. Prepare for grotesque body horror, mind-shattering PTSD, and the exact moment he trades his humanity for raw power. Don't close your eyes. At the end of Level 3, we saw Winsome step into Arthur's prison cell to draft him into a war of gods. But how did Arthur know a deity was coming to save him? Because the Asuras had been stalking him long before his arrest. It all started in a dusty, decaying potion shop with an undetectable old man and a strange, starry-eyed cat. This wasn't a random encounter. The cat was Winsome in disguise, testing him. When Winsome finally pulled Arthur into a pocket dimension, he completely shattered his reality. Humanity's entire understanding of magic. A lie. Mankind didn't naturally discover mana. The Asuras simply handed it to them centuries ago as a giant experiment. But the most chilling revelation was about Arthur's bond. His cute pet, Sylvie, isn't a rare mana beast. She is an Asura, a god, and the granddaughter of the most powerful being in Ephiatus. By claiming her, Arthur unknowingly put a massive target on his own back. The enemy continent of Alakria is ruled by Agrona and the Vritra clan, rogue Asuran scientists conducting sick genetic mutations on humans to build an army. They are hunting Sylvie. This is the real reason Winsome came to that prison cell. Arthur isn't just a prodigy anymore, he is the bodyguard of a divine weapon. And to survive, he has to go to the Asheran homeland and let the gods reforge him. When a protagonist leaves to train with gods, viewers expect a heroic montage. But Ephialtes is a psychological meat grinder. To prepare Arthur, he is plugged into an ether sphere, a pocket dimension where time slows down. Here, the Azura Caudry brutally beats him to death over and over, forcing Arthur to experience the agonizing sensation of dying thousands of times. The gods actually feared this extreme method would shatter a teenager's sanity. Later, the eccentric swordmaker Ren Kane tries a different approach, projecting a hyper-realistic illusion of an enemy lifting Tessia by the throat. But instead of panicking, Arthur instantly triggers Static Void. He burns his mana, severs the attacker's arm in a heartbeat, and coldly tells the Asura that his sick test went too far. The gods are left utterly baffled. Why isn't this boy breaking? How is he absorbing this trauma without going insane? Because the soul inside this teenager's body is King Grey, a battle-hardened dictator. You cannot break what is already broken. The true result of this divine training is revealed through the eyes of Tessia. Her squad enters a mutant-infested dungeon, bracing for a massive war. Instead, they find deafening silence. When they push open the boss room doors, they find Arthur, bathed in blood, calmly sitting atop a massive mountain of slaughtered monsters. The training didn't drive him mad, it simply reminded him of who he truly is. We just established Arthur as a monster, but level 4 isn't about his strength. It's about the grotesque physical toll of that strength. When the war finally begins, Arthur faces a Vritra retainer, a toxic, acid-wielding mutant whose body is rigged to ruthlessly kill even after she is dead. To survive, Arthur is forced to repeatedly use Burst Step, an explosive movement technique designed for the bodies of Asuras, but Arthur is still trapped in a human vessel. By forcing his human legs to move like a god's, he literally shreds his own muscles, detonates his blood vessels, and fractures his bones from the inside out. Dragging his mangled body behind enemy lines, Arthur uncovers a terrifying secret. The dwarves have betrayed the continent. Even worse, he is spotted by a scythe, a high-ranking general, who simply ignores him. He manages to drag himself back to base, but his body shuts down. The damage from his own technique is so catastrophic that normal healing magic can't fix it. In a pure body horror sequence, the best medical deviants are brought in for a brutal operation. To save his legs, the healers must manually shatter Arthur's lower bones into tiny, agonizing fragments, just to painstakingly fuse them back together. Arthur is literally tearing himself apart to keep up with the gods. In most stories, defeating a major villain brings a sense of justice. Down here in the trench, it only brings nightmares. Uto is a sadistic retainer, infamous for brutally torturing and executing the Lance Alia. When Arthur finally faces him in battle, there is no heroic triumph. Arthur is utterly overpowered, and his bond, Sylvie, is nearly beaten to death. He's only saved by the sudden intervention of Xyrus Vritra, the high-ranking scythe. In a display of terrifying dominance, Xyrus effortlessly disables Uto, breaks his horns, and drops them at Arthur's feet as a resource to grow stronger. But Arthur doesn't even have the strength to stand. His mana core is completely hollowed out from the desperate struggle. This extreme mana depletion triggers a violent mental backlash, a wave of mind-shattering PTSD. Arthur collapses into a gruesome hallucination where a blood-soaked Tessia stares at him with dead eyes. She voices the darkest fears hiding in his subconscious. Why do you think you deserve happiness? They died because of your selfish decisions. Whether you are King Grey or Arthur Leywin, you are doomed to be alone. The Asuras couldn't break his mind with thousands of deaths, but a completely drained core and his own crushing guilt are finally tearing him apart. We close level 4 not with a god-tier battle, but with the quiet, devastating reality of war. Arthur has spent his entire second life desperately trying to protect his family by keeping them away from the battlefield. But the war finds them anyway. It starts with a tragic irony. Adam, a beloved veteran of the Twin Horns, sacrifices himself to save his team in a dungeon ambush. The chilling part: it happened in the exact same dungeon Arthur had just cleared and declared safe. A hidden wall, a missed detail, and a good man dies because the perfect prodigy let his guard down. Desperate, Arthur begs his parents to stay home, but his mother, Alice, finally reveals the dark secret that has haunted her for years. Before Arthur was born, their party had a fiery, brilliant mage named Helstea. During a beast attack, Helstea was poisoned. Panicking, Alice used her magic to rapidly heal the open wound. But in doing so, she made a fatal mistake. She trapped the venom inside Helsthea's body. The poison destroyed Helsthea's mana core, stripping away her magic forever. If Alice had done nothing, a doctor could have easily extracted the venom. By trying to heal her best friend, Alice ruined her life. Unable to live without her magic, Helstea walked into a dungeon alone and never returned. It was a slow, agonizing suicide. This trauma terrified Alice into hiding her healing magic for years. But Adam's death is the breaking point. As level 4 ends, Arthur's parents refuse to hide in his shadow anymore. Arthur realizes a horrifying truth. He cannot protect everyone, and sometimes the deepest wounds are the ones we inflict while trying to save the people we love. Welcome to Level 5, the Abyss. You have reached the absolute bottom. Down here, the illusion of a hero's journey completely shatters. Prepare for the horrifying reality of his past life, the darkest secret of his closest friend, and the exact moment Agrona delivers a flawless psychological checkmate. The game was rigged from the start. For 4 levels, we treated King Grey's past as a tragic backstory, but level 5 reveals a horrifying truth. Arthur's past life didn't end. It followed him to this world, and it is the real reason Dicathen is burning. It began in a sci-fi orphanage with Grey, his best friend Nico, and a girl named Cecilia, a human anomaly known as the Legacy, possessing infinite energy. Their world shattered when mercenaries hunted Cecilia, leaving their caretaker, Aunt Olivia, slaughtered in a body bag. To protect the Legacy, Grey entered military training. Despite his weak internal energy, he endured brutal conditioning and political torture from factions desperate to control Cecilia. Eventually, the brutal political games surrounding the Legacy forced them into an impossible corner, ending with a tragic climax where Cecilia's blood stained Grey's own hands. But the ultimate nightmare is happening right now, in the present. Remember Arthur's best friend Elijah, the boy who saw a terrifying silhouette of King Grey during their spar? The boy who unleashed a dark, alien aura and crimson eyes when Tessia was captured, thinking, "This isn't me." Elijah isn't an innocent mage. He is the reincarnation of Nico. Arthur's past and present have violently collided, and his oldest friend is destined to become his worst enemy. Let's talk about the exact moment this series completely breaks Arthur's reality. After undergoing agonizing pain, Arthur finally does it. He breaks his limits and unlocks the legendary white core. At the exact same time, Sylvie breaks her mother's seal and unlocks her human form. It feels like the ultimate victory, the long-awaited turning point of the war. But then, her aura sharply shifts. A dark, suffocating pressure fills the room. Sylvie opens her mouth, but the voice is not hers. It is Agrona, the leader of the enemy continent. He casually reveals a horrifying truth. He planted a mental link inside Sylvie's mind while she was still an egg. He has had a backdoor into Arthur's life from the very beginning. Agrona doesn't scream or act like a cartoon villain. He is terrifyingly calm. When Arthur calls him a monster, Agrona simply mocks his hypocrisy, reminding him that Arthur paraded Jagret's frozen corpse like a hunting trophy. He reveals that his brutal genetic experiments actually raised Alacria's mage ratio to an astounding 1 in 5, making him a savior to his people, not a tyrant. Then he drops a strategic nuclear bomb. The Asuras, the so-called gods protecting them, have completely abandoned Dikathen. A new treaty was signed, leaving humanity to die alone. The war is already over. Agrona offers Arthur a simple deal. Walk away and your family lives. Arthur is paralyzed. He asks the one question that has been haunting the entire story. Out of an entire continent, why does Agrona only care about him? Agrona just smiles through his daughter's face. He says it was nice talking to an old friend, and then he calls him by his true name, King Grey. With that single name, the beginning after the end strips away the illusion of a cozy second chance. It's not just a story about a hero leveling up to save the world. It's a tragedy about a broken king who realized too late that he could never outrun his old ghosts. Because his past life didn't end in the ashes of his old world. It followed him here, violently colliding with his present. That is the true depth of this universe. This iceberg covered the Manhwa and the surface of the light novel, but the real abyss lies much deeper in the later chapters. If you want to see me descend into part 2 in the future, let me know by hitting the like button, and to make sure you don't miss our next deep dive into another dark universe. Consider subscribing if you want to support these massive projects, get early access, or vote on the next universe we explore. Check out the Patreon link below. Thank you for watching. See you in the abyss.